In this video, I want to go over a video editing program called VidCutter. Now, if you found this video on YouTube, I will provide a link below the video that has a description of the program and how to install it on your system and how to actually use the program. Now, this is not a new program. It's actually an older program. Over the last few weeks, I had several people to message me and tell me their VidCutter is not working on their system and wanted to know something they could use as a replacement. And VidCutter is working great on my system, but I understand why it may not on certain systems because it hasn't been updated in quite a while. And VidCutter was created, I think, back in 2016, and it hasn't been updated in quite a while. I think 2021 and 2023 was some of the last updates, and I'll show you that in just a few moments. But if you have problems installing it, try some of the methods that I'm showing you here, because this is a nice little video editor that will cut out sections of your video that you don't want, and it won't have to re-encode. And if it's not cutting at the exact points, you may have to re-encode, which it will allow you to do that as well. Let's take a look at what VidCutter is. VidCutter is a simple multi-platform video cutter and joiner. So it's not a very complicated program. This is what it looks like, and it's switched over to the dark theme once you get it installed on your system. Now, I'm not going to read all of these descriptions and features. You can do that over time. Now, here's the GitHub. If you click on the GitHub, it will take you to their website. As you can see, about 2 years ago it was updated, and here it was 3 years, and I think some of the stuff that was created like 8 years ago. They do have multiple ways of installing it on different platforms. I recommend the Flat Hub, and I'll show you that in just a few moments. And if the Flat Hub's not working, or if you prefer Snap Store, you can click here. It would take you to the Snap Store, and it shows you how to install it by the different like if you're using Arch Linux, Ubuntu. Now, I don't recommend the PPA, and let me show you why I don't recommend the PPA. If you click down here where it shows on Launchpad, this is showing you where it's actually getting the installer version. The last time that it was updated in 2023 was for Ubuntu 22.04.1, and if I've got Ubuntu 24.04.1, I'm using Ubuntu Mate, which is coming from Ubuntu 24.04. So if you try to install this, it will try to install some older dependencies, and it may mess up your system. So I wouldn't recommend using the PPA, not until they come and create a version for Ubuntu 24.04. So I would stick with the Flat Hub or the Snap or even the app image. Now, with the Ubuntu 24.04, some app images didn't work, and I have a solution for fixing app images that won't run in the new Ubuntu 24.04 on my website. So if you try to run it from the app image and it's not working, you can try these steps here to get the app image to working on your system. Now, if you scroll up, you can click on the release section, and I do have a link on my webpage that shows you the Flatpak link. You can click here. It takes you to the Flat Hub, where you can get the installation instructions here. And this is the steps that I use on my website, and I use some screenshots. Here it takes you to the SnapCut or the Snap Store, allowing you to install it through the Snap version. You can click the install, go down, you can choose the version. There's only one, but you can click the install from that method. The other ways is for the app image. You click here, it's not going to take you to a website. If you look in the bottom corner, it will actually download the most current app image for your system. Now, if you're using Windows, here's the executable file. If you're using the Mac OS, you can download the DMG file. And I don't recommend the Ubuntu PPA unless you're using 22.04 or earlier. Now, here's some links that you can download, like the app image, the executable file, and the DMGs. Let me close this tab here. There's a lot of great information from the GitHub website, and I do have all those links here within this section. Now, here's how I installed it on this system. I installed it via the Flatpak. You can click here and it takes you to the web page I already showed you, which I just simply copied and pasted this dark bold contents here. I opened up my terminal, I pasted in there, I pressed the enter or return key, and then it will ask you, do you want to install it for everyone that's using the system or just the current user? I chose number 1 for everyone that's using the system. And once you do that, it will prompt you here. It says, do you want to use one, which means it will install it by answering yes. The required runtime, you will need the runtime in order to install this on your system for it to work, so press the Y when you get to this option. Then it will again prompt you to install these files needed for it to run. Just press the Y again, and then when it's finished, it says installation complete. I just simply copy and paste to run it for the first time to put this into your terminal. Now, if you've got a menu like I do here, you can also go to sound and video, And if you scroll down, I have a lot of things on my system I need to clean off some. But as you can see here, there's the VidCutter under Strawberry. So I could click that and execute the program as well. But if you wanted to run it from the terminal, you just simply put Flatpak run, just simply copy that, and it will execute the program within your system. And like I showed you here on the screenshot, it will install it within your menu. If for some reason it's not showing in your menu, reboot your system, and it should be placed within your menu on your system. The first time you run it, it will be in light theme. So if you have a dark theme on your system, it will not appear to be that it matched the dark theme, but you can actually change it. There's two ways. You can click the system icon, which is the gear icon here, or you can click the bulleted hamburger menu to bring up a menu on your screen. And when you do that, here we'll create a menu that you can click settings. As you can see, you can open up a current project, you can go to the filters, you can look at the keyboard shortcuts, you can view the log files, you can check for updates. Now like I said, as I showed you earlier, the last time it was updated for Ubuntu 22.04 was back in 2023. So if you want to check for updates, you can do that quite often, or every now and then, to make sure that there's a new version. You can view the change logs, you can learn about the QT, or you can learn about VidCutter by clicking here, or you can quit this menu here by clicking quit, or you can click away from it and it will go away. But click settings, it will bring up your settings menu or your settings dialog box. You have 5 tabs on the left. General would be the first one. Now this one right here, if you enable SmartCut, it will actually take the time to re-encode. Like if you had a starting point and an ending point and you cut it out and it didn't exactly match the starting point that you wanted or the ending point, if it was a little shift, that's because of the way that keyframes work. You can enable this feature here so that it will take the time to re-encode, and it will put it more accurate for the starting point and ending point. So if you have trouble with that starting point and ending point, you may want to re-enable this, but it will take more time to process your output file. Now these are on by default. These are the default settings, and I'm not going to go through and read all of these. The next tab is your video tab, which will use hardware decoding. If you don't like the hardware decoding, or your system has problems with that, you could uncheck that to see if it works better on your system. And I'm not going to go through and read all those here. Now the theme, this is where you can change it from light theme to dark theme. You can click this right here and it will change, but it will prompt you, do you want to restart? If you're already doing something in the background, you may want to wait till it's over before you change the theme. But if this is the first time you actually open it, you can click the dark theme and then restart it, and it will come up with a dark theme. You can make the layout to where the clips are on the left rather than the right. As you saw, the default, the clips that you load will load on the right hand side. So you can change the look to the way that meets your personal preferences. Here is the actual power of the program. These are the actual files that are executing and actually performing the features within this graphical user interface. So these have to have the correct path for those, and it should be the correct path currently on there. For some reason it's not. You can click the folders and search for these and actually put the correct file location that's on your system. If for some reason your system's been customized to where these particular files are not in those locations. The last thing is for the log files. You can enable the verbose logging if you want to, so that way if you have trouble you can go back and look at the logging on what happened with why it didn't work or why it did work with your system. Now here's when you go to change from a light theme to a dark theme. It will prompt you that it needs to restart in order for it to take effect. When you hit yes, it will restart and it will come up with the dark theme. So it does give you a nice light theme if you like the light theme, and it does give you a nice looking dark theme if you're using a dark theme on your system. Now here's some examples that I did. In a moment I'll show you another quick example by using the program itself. In the past I used to record EastEnders when I used to teach middle school science, and it came on at 11 o'clock on every Sunday night. It would have 2 episodes from 11 to 11:30 and from 11:30 to 12. And so I had a little digital box hooked to my TV that recorded over the air PBS, and I would set it at a time, and sometimes it would have a lot of not really advertisements, but what's coming on PBS at the beginning and at the end as well. So what I would do is I would take these files and open it up with VidCutter. I used VidCutter before I used the AviDemux. Then once I installed AviDemux, I kind of got away from the VidCutter, but VidCutter worked perfect. What I did, I would open up VidCutter. I would go to the beginning location of where EastEnders started to come on, and then I would go to the location where it completely went off, and so that there's like a little ad here, there's a little ad here that I didn't want, and then I would click the button here, which is the save button. It would come up, and I would add the _edit so I wouldn't overwrite the original file, so if something was wrong with it, I wouldn't damage the original file. And then I would hit the save button. Once I hit the save button, it goes through and processes it, And if you don't have to re-encode, it will do it very quickly. Then you can hit the play button and it will bring up the player and actually show you that it's working. And I fast forward from the beginning because it didn't have any ads at the beginning or the end. And then if you want to remove VidCutter from your system, you can just simply copy and paste that and put it in your terminal, and it will remove it from your system. Now let me open up and I will demonstrate. I'm going to go to my videos, and I got Big Buck Bunny in my video folder. If I go right click, open up with VidCutter, there's multiple ways you can open it, but this will open up the file. It's generating thumbnails now. This video is about 9 minutes and 18 seconds long. I could hit play and I could wait till it reached a point where I wanted to cut it out, but let's just say I'm going to drag it over here. I'll play a little bit. I'll start it here where he's grabbing the tree limb. So I hit start the video clip. So everything from this point to the beginning is actually going to be cut out. I'm going to drag it just a little bit. I'm not going to drag it long. I'll wait till he rubs that black under his eyes like a football player. And then I'll pause it here. I'll say end the clip. So I'm only going to cut out this. If you had commercials that you recorded something and there was an ad starting here, you could go to the end of the ad and start another clip, move it, and everything between it would be cut out, and everything that's in the kind of like the transparent or translucent would actually be part of the video. So you could cut multiple sections and join those. But I'm just going to cut out a small section. When I do, I hit the save video. It's going to come up. I'm going to click the Big Buck Bunny, but I'm not going to hit save now because that would overwrite the original one. So I'm going to come and put like underscore edit. All right, I got the underscore. I'm going to write edit. And that way that I will have the edited version, and it's going to place it in the same folder. As you can see, here's 133.6 megabytes for the video. I'm going to hit save, and it's finished. It didn't take very long. Now this one's only 6.8 because it's a very small clip that I have. It's only 34 seconds instead of 9 minutes and 18 seconds. Now that little dialog box that was up, I could hit play and it would open with my default player, but as you can see over here's the right for all the clips that I will load, but here's the Big Buck Bunny edited. As you can see down here in the bottom, it's 7.2 megabytes, whereas the original file is 133.6. The original file, if I'm not mistaken, was 9 minutes and 56 seconds, almost 10 minutes long. Where I cut it out is only going to be 34 seconds long. So there's where he started breaking the limb, and then at the end it should be where he rubbed, and I had it where they peaked up. Let me start it over. I'm going to close this out because it's a very short clip. There's where he breaks the limb, and at the end he rubs it under his eyes, and then where the animals peek over the rock, and that's where I stopped it. So as you can see here, it worked great. So if you need something to trim off a video or to edit out sections, this can do a little bit more than what I'm showing you, but this is not a very powerful video editor. It's not quite as powerful as Avidemux or any of the others. I know there's other type programs out there like lossless cuts that's a lot newer, and there's several more, and in the future I'll be looking at those. It's just I have a more experience with this one, and this one still works on Ubuntu 24.04.1, the long-term support. So if you're trying to install it by the deb file or by using the PPA, I recommend removing the deb file version so that it's not going to have the dependencies that's messing up or interfering with the newer files that's on your Ubuntu. I recommend going with either the Flatpak or the Snap or even the app image where it's self-contained so that it's not having dependency files that are conflicting with the other things on your system. I know when you're working with something that's self-contained, it actually uses a little bit more space on your system, but this is a very small program. You know, there's other video editors that are out there, but they're much larger than this. This still works great, and I showed you here. So hopefully if you're looking for a video cutter or a video editor, you will give VidCutter a try. Hopefully this video has been helpful to someone, and have a great day.